All right, friends, we are excited. We have the man, the legend.
Oh, thank you.
Ask anybody in the crowd who the GOAT is in the ETA world. It's going to be Dean Z.
No way. I appreciate that.
You're having a good time, aren't you, man?
Man,
right now?
living my childhood dream on a daily basis. Yeah, man. I've loved Elvis since I was 3 years old, and I have to pinch myself because just getting a chance to sing his music is pretty cool, but to have that sort of recognition where people are actually digging what you're doing,
right?
It's a really good feeling. So thank you.
I think one of the Dean Z charms, though, is your humble Dean. And
thank you.
When we do the Blue Suede Connection show, we don't come on as talk show hosts. We come on as fans.
Yeah.
And you do that on that stage, which I think is amazing.
Well, it's about him,
Absolutely.
It's about him, and my goal is to make Elvis the star of the show. That's what it's got to be about. And as an Elvis fan first and a singer second, we got to keep Elvis at the forefront of culture,
right?
And I want him to shine up there. So coming at it as a fan, it's not about us. I'm kind of a middleman.
Right.
My job is just to keep the music going and bring new fans in that might not have seen him. Mm-hmm. Fans that have seen him, kind of get them to relive that memory, and so it's a good feeling.
Ask Dean that question, TL.
Ask me that question.
Yeah. I saw you for the first time last night.
First time.
Great show.
I've
seen you online, Facebook and stuff.
Thank you.
But when I was watching you, I said to Dan, and I saw a post you did. I think you were in Brazil not long ago, or somewhere international. And I said, what does it feel like to be on an international stage, Dean, and you know that Elvis himself never got to do that? You're bringing something that they've all wanted for so long.
Yeah.
They're expecting a lot, I'm sure, too.
Yes. Well, the shoes of Elvis are impossible to fill. No matter what, they're impossible to fill. None of us can do it. None of us even should try to do it. We should just approach it as fans that love to sing and keep the music going. That's how I like to do it. But every time I go international, and I get to travel international a lot, I always say to the audience, it's not lost on me that Elvis should be the one standing here. He should have been the one bringing his music to you. But part of me feels really good getting a chance to kind of complete that circle. Like finishing the work that he started is kind of how I like to look at it. And, as an Elvis fan, standing in front of a crowd that doesn't speak English, and I'm just like, the magic of this man, that transcends cultures and generations, that does not happen anymore. Right. And it hasn't happened since and won't happen ever again. Elvis is the one.
And they know the lyrics.
They speak zero English, and they sing every lyric.
I one time stood in the 30th anniversary for the vigil. I stood in line right behind the Brazil fan club.
Yeah. All speaking Portuguese
they're speaking Portuguese, and then all of a sudden a song would come on perfect English.
Yeah,
I was like,
it's amazing.
Wow, it's so touching, and
it really is.
That he would never have imagined that.
I don't think he could have fathomed how Elvis's fear of being forgotten. It seems crazy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like Elvis was. He just like any of us, we all have our insecurities and things, but Elvis was just a human being that thought, maybe I won't be remembered in a few years, and here we are. Still just blown away by how great he was.
Last night when I was watching you, also watching Elvis behind you.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that you had produced and done that beautiful artwork behind you, because at first I thought, does Dean know that Elvis is right behind him singing the same song? He's singing the song right along. You're almost like right in tune with him.
Yeah.
I thought, how does that feel? I mean, is that like intimidating? The man is doing it right behind you.
Well, it's not intimidating. It's actually, as an Elvis fan, that's what I'm looking for. I want to see glimpses of him up there, and I want things to sync up, and I want them to be, as close as I can get them in those little windows of the song.
Yeah.
And I want people to remember what he was like, not just be copy of a copy of a copy. It's really got to stay about him. When I'm producing, the backstream media is what you're talking about, the things that are happening behind the singer on that big screen. I like that because nowadays in music, in entertainment, and in concerts, you have to have those elements of presenting a show that way. You got to have multimedia, you got to have lighting, you got to have the experience, because human beings are used to all that stimulation now.
Right. Yeah.
So in Elvis's time, it could just be him in a spotlight and it would be perfect. Mm-hmm. Now we've got so much stimulus at us all the time with phones and all the things. You have to do that with shows. So I figured if we're going to do that, to stay with current concert standards, let's make sure that we see the guy, the man himself,
It was truly beautiful.
And thank you for that.
There was a moment where you were in the finale and you were shaking your shoulders, and it just so happened that Elvis was behind you, and he was doing that little where he,
Yeah.
like he was watching you.
Watching me like a snack.
Yeah, and I was like,
That's
look
funny.
at that. He's like, it was just perfect timing.
Thank you.
It was so funny. I
That's
said,
cool.
Oh, look at that. That is so cool.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You're not just a singer or a musician. You produced all that stuff
Yes, sir.
that we saw.
Yes, sir. Yeah, in music, and in entertainment in general, you got to be able to do a lot, speak a lot of languages, wear a lot of hats, and as a musician, I'm able to speak those languages. I play 6 instruments. Nothing great, but I like playing music. And so you got to be able to speak that language. And you got to be able to speak technical language when it comes to sound. And you got to be able to speak lighting, and you got to be able to speak production. And then you got to be able to speak video and television production. I went to college for that. That's one of my other passions in life has always been film and television production, being on the back end of the camera.
Is that what's going to happen when the day comes when you take off the jumpsuit?
Yeah, I hope so. My big goal is to be like, I kind of see myself in 15 years hosting a morning show on some like our Springfield television.
Hey, we can use a third on Blue Suede Connection.
You just call me and I'll do it. You let me know. But I want to do something where it's like I like being in front of the camera, but I really like producing, and so I'll probably be in the role of producing shows and other artists and still keeping Elvis at the forefront. That's always going to be my goal.
Music runs in your family, doesn't it? I think your brother plays too, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
My brother is a wonderful guitar player. He's in my show in Branson and on my road shows and everything. My brother Danny.
And your wife as well, right?
My wife is our singer and dance captain and choreographer and all the costuming. She does all that. And my sister's a country singer.
Great.
And so kind of music's been around. My grandfather was a drummer. All my cousins are drummers, and my great-grandfather ran a big band in England, so he played 20 instruments and scored. Back then, you'd have to have a band playing at the movies,
Oh, yeah.
because there was no movies that had sound. And so my grandfather was part of the orchestras that used to accompany motion pictures.
Right.
And so that's the kind of background I kind of come
We're
from.
going to get you to talk about Branson in a minute.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
important. But
That's
first, I
home.
got to ask you, we always ask all the ETAs.
Yeah.
When you're not listening to Elvis,
Yeah.
what's on your iPod? What's on your song list?
Oh,
Who are you
man.
listening to? Who's Dean listening to these days?
I'm very eclectic with my mix. I'm not kidding. You'll find everything on my iPod, iPad, all the on the phones. You'll find everything from the 20s standards, American songbook, all the way to Slipknot, metal, hip hop.
Right.
I like everything. But I'll tell you what I'm really into right now. I'm really discovering how much I really love Fleetwood Mac and how much I love Phil Collins. Like those Phil Collins is a musical genius. Fleetwood Mac has got a great groove to it and great songs, and I'm just a big fan of Stevie Nicks. Her voice is so unique, and it shows you don't have to be the craziest, wildest, highest, crazy singer to have some tonality that people latch on to, and I love that. And so, but I mix it up all the time.
Right. My favorite Fleetwood Mac is The Chain.
The Chain, yeah.
Gotta love that song.
Can't go wrong with The Chain, yeah,
Right,
man.
right.
And right now it's The Chain. There's a song called Sarah that I really love. Gypsy.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of losing that individual voice in music these days.
Yeah.
You really could tell when it was Willie Nelson or it was Waylon or
You heard it right away,
Yeah,
right?
you
You
knew
recognized
who
it.
it was. And
Elvis.
sometimes now- and
You hear it
Elvis,
right
yeah.
away.
And it's
I miss
harder
that.
now.
I miss
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I really want to figure out what my sound is, because when we're recording original music this year, we're going to get an original album out this year. I'm really excited about that. I've been writing for years, just never had time and never had the confidence to do it. And finally, I'm like, this is the year to get a little 10-song album out.
How would you describe your Dean voice?
My voice is really based. I love Sam Cooke. I really love Sam
So
Cooke.
do we.
I love Sam. I love Elvis. I love that 50s, 60s genre so much. So my music's going to run, I call Elvis the super highway. Mine's going to be that nice little side road that you take, just that runs along the side of that highway. So Elvis fans will really love it. And it's going to be feel good. There's doo-wop in there. There's some Doors influence in there. It's really interesting, and a lot of rock and roll, rockabilly, and that sort of style.
Hey, when do you sleep?
Man, tell me about it. I sleep on a plane a lot of the time.
Right.
My wife says I'm a cow. I can sleep standing up. She said you can sleep anywhere. I could literally fall asleep because you got to train yourself, right, to do this. So I sleep as much as I can because that's the way to save your voice. But I'll tell you, I'm grateful to be as busy as I am. I really am.
Yeah.
I really am.
And where can folks find this music you're speaking of, this new?
Once it comes out, we're going to have it available on social platforms.
Okay.
It'll be on Spotify. It'll be on iTunes and that sort of stuff. But physical copies will be available on the website, deansy.com. I just want to say to you guys, thanks for doing what you guys do.
Thank you.
Because you keep Elvis fans connected, and that's what it's all about.
Before we let you go, we got to talk about Branson real quick.
Sure,
I know
yeah.
that's a big thing for you.
That's
it's home.
That's home, man. I love.
I've been watching for the last few years your Christmas special in Branson,
Oh,
and we
yeah.
keep saying we got to drive up there and check it out.
You really should.
It looks just bigger than big.
Thank you.
It looks so. I just love how you have your core like 50s group. It looks like a 50s group with stand-up bass.
Yes.
And then you also have your regular, bigger
The big
behind
horns.
you for more. But it's not just Elvis, right?
Right. Branson is my year-round home. I do my tribute to Elvis there, Deansy the Ultimate Elvis, at the Clay Cooper Theater in Branson, right across from the Titanic, and it's I think it's the state-of-the-art theater. Best sounds, best lighting in Branson. We're very blessed to be part of that theater family. And that's where I'm at March through December, minus the road shows that I have to do. And we do the Elvis show year-round. In November and December, I alternate. This year, I'm doing an all-Elvis Christmas version of that show. But I also have Deansy's Rockin' Christmas Show, which is sort of inspired by Brian Setzer, the music of the groups that were doing music, like the girl groups of, that Phil Spector kind of sound, the 60s sound. They had a great Christmas album in the 60s.
I've
Phil
heard
Spector.
that album, yeah.
It's a wonderful album. The Ronettes are on it, and the Shangri-Las, all those great
Supremes
groups.
are on there too, aren't they?
Supremes, everybody was on that record. And that's the kind of the vibe that we like to go for. It's sort of a big band, jump blues, jump rock kind of
that's what
thing.
it-
And it's so much fun. It's so much fun.
And you're dancing. Have you had lessons? Are you a dancer? What?
No,
because
no.
you really do.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I've never had a dance lesson. I've never had a singing lesson. I need both.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Because there's so much value in that. But
Yeah.
I kind of wing it and feel it. And
It comes natural to you.
thank you. And my wife is the real talent. Personally, I think she's the real dancer, real singer in the group. She's amazing.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
Thank you.
And your child too.
Yeah, JoJo. I think she's bitten by the bug. I think she wants to do music.
Oh, really?
And, I said, that's great. Do music. Maybe be a doctor and do music.
There you go.
Or actually, even better, be a dentist and do music, because then you get your own schedule and no one's passing away. Be a dentist and sing. That's the combo.
So is there anything you want to share with the world that we don't know about Deansy that you want to tell us about or anything?
Oh,
The mic
goodness.
is yours, brother.
Well, I'll be at Elvis Week. I'll be hosting the Ultimate again. I think that's not been out there yet, so I'll be hosting the Ultimate contest again this year. You guys got the scoop on the original record that's coming out this year. Lots of cool stuff. I'm working on some cool symphony shows. I'm really hoping to make that happen. If
That'd be
that
nice.
happens, it'll be available to stream, and so keep an eye on social media for that. Elvis with a symphony, you can't go wrong with
No,
that.
no.
And so especially in a really cool way where I can really tighten the screws and make it really special. And I'd like to make that an annual thing. So keep an eye out for that for the fall.
I'm sorry. Will that also be? You think over at Graceland or the theater?
That's going to be based in Branson,
Okay.
actually.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be
Okay.
part of our Branson
Oh, that's
Branson
great.
show. Yeah,
Another
it's going to be a
reason
special
go to
one night.
Branson, honey.
There you go.
You got to come on down.
We'll see you. Thanks for watching.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And hit that notification bell.
We are your Blue Suede Connection.